Most people look at a cucumber and all they see is water. Tasteless water wrapped in green skin, a boring vegetable used as a mere filler in extreme calorie-restricted diets to trick a hungry stomach. But this perspective makes a major mistake that ignores nature's complex engineering. What you have in your hands when you hold this vegetable is not common water like what comes out of the tap or a plastic bottle. It is structured cellular water, a biological serum loaded with active electrolytes in a perfect mineral ratio that functions inside your body exactly like an intravenous line. And within that seemingly simple liquid matrix, rare organic compounds are hidden that are capable of freezing the conversion of carbohydrates into fat and initiating a selective cleaning to eliminate aging cells from the brain. It is a true translator of chemical signals that your metabolism reads instantly. Most people pass by these processes without even suspecting how their body reacts to real food. If you want to understand the language of your own organism, instead of limiting yourself to following rigid guidelines without any basis, subscribe to the channel because here we gut the internal functioning of the human body every week with scientific data that no one else tells you. Visualize with precision what happens at the exact second you bite into a fresh cucumber. It is not simply a mechanical act of chewing, but the start of a biochemical chain reaction. In your mouth, that slightly bitter and dry taste, especially noticeable in the area near the stem, is not a defect of the vegetable, but an active chemical signal. That rough touch comes from a combination of organic acids and compounds called cucurbitacins that come into contact with your saliva immediately. Instantly, your salivary glands react by increasing the production of amylase and sending a direct nerve impulse to your stomach to indicate that the digestive process must start at maximum power. It's like turning on the engines of a recycling factory before the cargo truck arrives. Once this food bolus descends toward the stomach and reaches the duodenum, the cucurbitacins take center stage. These substances are actually defense mechanisms that the plant develops to avoid being devoured by insects. But in the human organism, they trigger a highly beneficial adaptive response. Upon being detected by the receptors in the intestine, they immediately stimulate the contraction of the gallbladder. This causes a controlled release of bile, indispensable for emulsifying fats and facilitating the task of pancreatic enzymes. At the same time, this constant biliary flow activates the liver's detoxification mechanisms, pushing it to process and filter toxins long before the cucumber's nutrients have been completely absorbed into the bloodstream. As the structured water and minerals from the cucumber penetrate the circulatory system, the chemical journey moves to the kidneys, where a true work of art of bodily hydrodynamics occurs. The cucumber possesses an extraordinarily high ratio of potassium compared to sodium. This mineral asymmetry is immediately detected by the cells of the renal tubules. Instead of forcing the kidneys to work under pressure, this balance promotes the opening of cellular channels to release the excess sodium accumulated in the extracellular space. It is at this point where the caffeic acid and ascorbic acid present in the cucumber come into action, acting as an extremely gentle natural diuretic. The kidneys begin to efficiently filter and evacuate the fluid stagnant between the tissues, decreasing the swelling of the limbs and face, but with a crucial difference compared to commercial diuretic drugs. And that is that this process does not drain intracellular potassium, keeping intact the sodium-potassium pump that makes your heart beat and your muscles move. The digestive apparatus in the excretory system do not experience this as a heavy meal, but as a purifying impulse that cleans your body's filters in real time. Digestion is not just degrading matter to extract calories. It is a continuous flow of hormonal instructions. Let us now enter the core of your body's energy management, where the cucumber deploys one of its most potent and least understood mechanisms through tartronic acid. When you consume carbohydrates, whether a portion of rice, a piece of bread, or a ripe fruit, your digestive system quickly breaks them down into glucose to raise the presence of sugar in the blood. If at that precise moment you are not performing a demanding physical activity or actively spending energy, your body finds itself with an energy surplus that it cannot leave floating freely in the bloodstream, since high levels of glucose are toxic to the blood vessels. To protect itself, the liver immediately initiates a biochemical process known as de novo lipogenesis. This process consists of transforming that excess circulating glucose into fatty acid molecules that are subsequently packaged and deposited in the adipose tissue, accumulating mainly in the abdominal area and around the internal organs in the form of harmful visceral fat. In this precise storage scenario is where tartronic acid acts as a high-precision biochemical lock. Upon entering the liver cells, this molecule has the unique ability to temporarily bind to the active sites of the enzymes responsible for catalyzing the conversion of carbohydrates into lipids. By blocking this enzymatic gear, tartronic acid temporarily stops the assembly line that manufactures new fat from sugar. As a direct consequence, the carbohydrates you have ingested remain circulating for longer in the form of glycogen available in the muscles and liver, or they are oxidized more directly by your cells to generate heat and daily energy instead of ending up converted into persistent adipose deposits. However, this metabolic shield has an inescapable physical condition that you must know if you want it to work in real life. Tartronic acid is extremely unstable in the face of temperature changes. The moment you subject the cucumber to any type of cooking, whether steamed, sautéed, or even through the aggressive thermal processes used for the production of industrial preserves and pickles with vinegar, the molecular structure of tartronic acid is completely denatured. Its chemical bonds break and the substance loses all its protective capacity over the liver enzymes. For this reason, to benefit from this natural blocker of fat accumulation, the cucumber must be consumed strictly in its raw, fresh, and crunchy state. It is the only way to keep this sophisticated chemical message intact for your life. But the regulatory effects of the cucumber go far beyond the management of body fat and move to one of the most exciting frontiers of modern medicine: cellular rejuvenation and brain protection through an extraordinary flavonoid called fisetin. During recent years, scientists from prestigious medical research institutions, such as the renowned Salk Institute for Biological Studies in California, have been closely studying how to combat cognitive decline and the aging of organs by manipulating what we now call senescent cells, or more commonly, zombie cells. Throughout life, due to oxidative stress, DNA damage, and inflammatory processes, many cells in our body reach a point of wear and tear where they lose the ability to divide and perform their functions correctly. However, instead of dying and being eliminated through the natural process of apoptosis, these deteriorated cells refuse to disappear. They remain suspended in an intermediate state in which they provide no benefit but continue to be metabolically active, constantly secreting a cocktail of highly inflammatory proteins, tissue-destroying enzymes, and stress signals that infect young neighbors. This phenomenon is one of the main causes behind the accelerated aging of body tissues and, very worryingly, the deterioration of cognitive functions in the brain. This is where the fisetin present in the cucumber reveals itself as a compound of incalculable biological value. Fisetin acts as a high-selectivity natural senolytic. Upon entering our organism, it has the amazing ability to precisely identify the chemical signatures of these aging zombie cells and selectively reactivate the signaling pathways that force them to self-destruct, clearing the cellular space so that it can be colonized again by healthy, young, and fully functional cells. What makes the fisetin in the cucumber even more impressive is its unique ability to cross the blood-brain barrier, that dense cellular wall that protects the brain from toxins and pathogens, but also usually prevents the passage of the vast majority of medications and antioxidant compounds we consume. Once fisetin crosses this protective barrier, it penetrates directly into the neuronal and glial cells of the brain. There, it not only neutralizes the oxidative stress that damages mitochondria and neurons, but also stimulates the production of neurotrophic factors essential for cellular survival. This translates into a notable improvement in synaptic plasticity, facilitating the creation of new neuronal connections, protecting long-term memory, and preventing the chronic neuroinflammation processes that are directly associated with neurodegenerative diseases and age-related mental decline. It is a true cleaning and renewal system for your neuronal network. In addition to cleaning the brain and regulating sugar metabolism, the cucumber is an indispensable tool for maintaining the physical and structural integrity of the entire body, thanks to its high content of bioavailable silicon, also known in the scientific field as silica. We live in a culture that seems obsessed with the consumption of collagen. Millions of people daily buy hydrolyzed collagen supplements in powder, consume expensive capsules, or prepare bone broths for hours with the firm conviction that this will keep their skin firm, their nails hard, and their joints free of pain. However, human biochemistry works under very different rules. The collagen you ingest is broken down by your digestive system into individual amino acids, and your body cannot reassemble these building blocks to form new firm collagen fibers if it lacks the molecular architect that directs the work. And that architect is precisely silicon. Silicon acts in the organism as a structural glue and a molecular cross-linking agent. Imagine that the collagen and elastin fibers that support your skin and joints are like steel bars intended to hold up a building. If you simply stack the steel bars, the structure will collapse under the slightest pressure. You need a high-resistance tie wire that binds them strongly into a solid and elastic three-dimensional network. Silicon fulfills exactly that function in the extracellular space of connective tissues. By binding to glycosaminoglycan molecules, which are the basis of the gelatinous matrix that fills our skin, joints, and cartilage, silicon allows these tissues to retain water and essential nutrients optimally. When you consume cucumber regularly, you're providing your organism with a source of orthosilicic acid, the only form of soluble silicon that the human body can absorb and use with total ease at the cellular level. This silicon travels directly to the fibroblasts of the deep dermis, stimulating them to synthesize type 1 collagen and high-quality elastin. The result of this process is not simply a superficial hydration effect that disappears when you wash your face, but a true restructuring of the framework that supports your skin, smoothing expression lines and returning its natural elasticity from the inside. This same process is replicated with identical efficacy in the keratin matrix of your hair and nails, preventing breakage and wear, as well as in the cartilage of your knees and joints, where silicon contributes to maintaining natural cushioning and preventing premature wear of joint surfaces. To make the most of all this biochemical wealth, however, it is fundamental to learn how to consume and select this vegetable intelligently, fleeing from the usual practices that neutralize its healing properties. The first critical error most people make when preparing a cucumber is peeling it automatically. By removing the skin with a knife or a peeler, you are committing a true nutritional disaster. It is precisely in the outer cuticle of the cucumber, that green and firm skin, where the highest density of senolytic fisetin, structural silicon, and protective cucurbitacins is concentrated. If you remove the skin, you are reducing a metabolically active superfood to a simple portion of water with a little potassium. Therefore, the golden rule consists of always consuming the cucumber with its skin intact, as long as you know its origin with certainty or have selected an organically grown variety free of synthetic pesticides. The recommended daily dose for the organism to experience the cumulative benefits of these chemical compounds is between 1 and 2 medium cucumbers, which is equivalent to approximately 150 to 250 grams of fresh product per day. It is not about massive and sporadic consumption once a month, but about educating the metabolism through the daily and constant supply of these small doses of chemical information so that the body can keep its self-regulation and purification systems active. Likewise, there are strict guidelines on what you should avoid at all costs if you do not want to spoil the therapeutic potential of the cucumber. In the first place, never leave sliced cucumbers exposed to the sun, in the open air, or on the kitchen table for a prolonged time before consuming them. The instant the internal pulp of the cucumber comes into direct contact with atmospheric oxygen, the plant's own oxidative enzymes begin to rapidly degrade the ascorbic acid, vitamin C, and sensitive organic acids, neutralizing much of their antioxidant properties in a matter of minutes. The cucumber must be cut at the exact moment it is going to be consumed. In the second place, you must completely avoid industrial pickled cucumbers that are commonly marketed on supermarket shelves. These products are usually submerged in aggressive solutions of distilled white vinegar, excessive refined salt, chemical preservatives, and very frequently added sugars to mask the acidity. This chemical environment completely destroys the molecular structure of tartronic acid and cancels the benefits of structured cellular water. additionally overloading your cardiovascular system with an unnecessary excess of sodium and artificial additives. If what you are looking for is a probiotic and purifying effect through fermented vegetables, you must opt exclusively for traditionally fermented cucumbers through natural lactofermentation in brine of water and sea salt without the addition of synthetic acids or subsequent pasteurization. To enhance the absorption of the cucumber's nutrients, it is extremely intelligent to combine its consumption with a small portion of high-quality healthy fats. Antioxidant compounds such as fisetin, beta-carotene, and certain vitamins present in the vegetable have a fat-soluble nature, which means that their absorption rate through the walls of the small intestine multiplies exponentially when they are ingested in the presence of a fatty medium. A drizzle of extra virgin olive oil from the first cold pressing, some sesame seeds sprinkled on top, or some slices of fresh avocado are ideal complements that transform a cucumber salad into a maximum efficiency nutrient delivery system for your organism. Despite its undeniable virtues, it is of utmost importance to maintain an honest and rigorous attitude in the field of health, recognizing that no food is universally perfect for all people in every circumstance. There are specific health profiles that must approach cucumber consumption with caution and knowledge of the cause. People who are going through acute phases of digestive system pathologies, such as erosive gastritis, ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome with a tendency toward diarrhea, or active gastric ulcers, should moderate their consumption. The insoluble fiber present in the outer skin of the cucumber, added to the presence of organic acids and bitter compounds, can be excessively mechanical and stimulating for a gastric or intestinal mucosa that is already inflamed and hypersensitive, causing discomfort, gas, or unnecessary stomach spasms. In these specific cases, it may be advisable to partially remove the skin or consume the cucumber in the form of strained and filtered juice until the integrity of the digestive tissue has been completely restored. Likewise, those patients suffering from serious renal pathologies, such as advanced chronic kidney failure, where the kidney's ability to filter and eliminate potassium and water from the body is severely compromised, must closely supervise their daily cucumber intake under the control of their medical specialist. Although for a healthy individual, the diuretic effect of the cucumber is extremely beneficial for reducing body swelling, in a person with a drastically reduced glomerular filtration rate, the uncontrolled accumulation of fluids and the inability to process potassium can generate a dangerous electrolyte imbalance for the stability of the heart rhythm. Finally, it is essential to address the problem of chemical manipulation in modern agriculture, especially when we consume vegetables outside their natural season. Intensive greenhouse-grown cucumbers marketed during the winter months are often subjected to aesthetic polishing processes through the application of layers of paraffin, synthetic waxes, and artificial preservatives on the outer skin to artificially prolong their shelf life on the shelves and prevent moisture loss. In addition, these forced growth varieties are usually fertilized with massive amounts of nitrogenous fertilizers, which causes a worrying accumulation of nitrates in the fruit's pulp, which when ingested in excess can be transformed into harmful nitrosamines inside our stomach. If you do not have access to certified organic cucumbers or trusted local gardens during these times of the year, it is fundamental to rub the surface of the skin vigorously with a brush under a stream of hot water. Or, if doubts persist about the presence of persistent chemical waxes, completely remove the outer skin, responsibly assuming the loss of part of the nutrients in favor of safeguarding your organism from the accumulation of harmful synthetic residues. The human body does not function as a simple oven where we throw calories indiscriminately to keep the fire burning. Your organism is a constant receiver of information. Every time you consume a fresh, raw cucumber with its skin, you are not simply ingesting low-calorie water. You are sending a set of structured chemical messages that your liver, your brain, your kidneys, and your skin read and execute with millimeter precision. The true change in your health and in your daily energy does not arise from a miraculous and punctual intervention of a single day, but from the conscious decision to provide your body with these correct instructions in a regular and sustained manner over time. Your body speaks the language of nature's chemistry, and every bite you decide to put in your mouth is ultimately a letter you are writing to your cells. Learn to write the right letters for your health. If this exploration of the hidden science within your food has changed the way you look at the simple vegetables in your garden, please subscribe and like this video to support our channel. We are dedicated to unearthing the biological history and scientific truths that have been overlooked. Plant the seeds for your future health today. Our next deep dive into the treasures of human biochemistry will be revealed very soon.